What's up, True Crime World? You're here with Illuminol on the Wall. I'm Bevy.
And I'm Becky. And today's case is about a woman who abuses and manipulates the people in her life over and over and over again, leaving a wake of destruction in her path. This is the case of Stephen Beard. Listeners' discretion is advised.
Well, hello, True Crime family, and hello to our True Crime friends.
Yes, hello.
Welcome to today's episode that has twists and turns like you wouldn't believe. At least Becky told me.
I was going to say, I'm like,
Becky was like telling me, she's like, I was reading, I was doing my research, and I was like, at least 5 different times. And I quote. So be prepared to be excited 5 different times.
Yes. And I have to apologize because this week I'm sick.
Yeah, so if you hear some sniffles,
just deal with it.
Yeah, Becky's
ignore them.
sick.
Yeah, and I can't control my sniffles, apparently, I've been told.
No, she can't.
So deal with it. But I'm hoping that maybe we'll get more viewers with my deeper, lower, sexy voice. I'm pulling a Phoebe.
Okay, Phoebes.
Like, smelly cat. What are they feeding you? You know, like.
I love that episode. She's like getting people to cough on her once it starts going away. She's
No. Yeah. I mean, I wish I wasn't sick, but hopefully I'll seduce some people just through Spotify or Amazon.
Yeah, you never know
Apple.
what weird fetishes people have. They're like, oh, you're sick? Let me listen to this episode.
Oh. Who are these girls? Sounding all sick and sexy.
Who are these girls? Sounding all sick and sexy. Oh, is that a t-shirt waiting to happen? Don't quote us. We're trademarking it later.
At a different date.
Don't you fucking steal it, okay?
Yeah.
It was just way too good. We know everyone's going to want to use that. Make a t-shirt out of it.
Why? I feel like every time we say something funny or, you know, laugh at something, we literally are like, that's got to be on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
It could be like a whole paragraph of just pure funniness, and we'll be like, yeah, that's going on a t-shirt.
Yeah, totally.
Somehow it will.
And guess what? How many t-shirts have we made saying something?
0.
0.
We have never made a shirt.
Yeah, we just haven't been
Committed.
proactive. Yeah.
Yeah. Except the closest thing we ever had to that was one year for my birthday. Bev and it was just you. She bought me.
Probably me.
She bought me a sweater, and I kid you not, wrote down some of the funny shit I said.
Yeah, I got
in
everyone
that last
too.
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I still have that sweater, but I'm scared to wash it because I'll lose all the phrases.
Yeah, I mean, like, wash it. I literally haven't seen you wear it since.
Yeah, because I don't want it to be ruined.
At least I know it's a prized possession.
Yeah, it is. It's in my closet.
That was a sweet thing I did.
It was thoughtful because you know I
Good
love
ideas.
myself. And
I do know you think you're like the funniest bitch around. So, I mean, listen,
I
you just
am.
gave us a quote for a t-shirt. So, dare I say you're correct?
I think you do dare say I am correct.
Bitch, you're funny.
Thank you, Bev.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. I needed
love
that
you.
today. So, all right, let's get into our case.
Okay.
So,
It is an odd start, I will say. Your pause said it all. I was like, she's thinking, how do I make that sound natural?
yeah, I was like, why did I put it in that
Wait
order?
a second.
I never do that.
Just read it how it is. Okay, awkward transition starting now.
Celeste Johnson Beard.
You fucked it up, bitch. Anyways, give them the real thing. Show them what the fuck we were both looking at. Come on now.
Okay. Born on February 13th, 1963. Celeste Johnson Beard entered the world in Camarillo, California, but her early life was far from ordinary. At just 2 days old, she was adopted by Nancy and Edwin Johnson, a couple who would go on to adopt 4 children within the span of 4 years. To the outside world, they appeared to be an average loving family living in a picturesque town north of Los Angeles. But behind closed doors, the Johnson household was anything but ordinary. Their home was a battleground, plagued by cruelty, conflict, and emotional neglect. Poverty was a constant shadow looming over the family, but it wasn't just material hardship they faced. There was an unsettling darkness at its core. Edwin Johnson. He was seen as an odd and distant figure, while his wife Nancy battled severe psychological issues that deeply affected the entire household. Nancy's struggles with mental health manifested in harsh and hurtful ways. She frequently reminded her 4 adopted children of their place in the family in the cruelest manner possible, telling them, "The only reason you're here is because your birth parents didn't love you."
What the hell?
The words stung, and the sentiment was clear. She didn't love them either. What appeared to be picture-perfect family on the surface was in reality a house of emotional torment, leaving deep scars on Celeste and her siblings.
Do you love true crime and travel? Having traveled the world solo the last couple of years and being obsessed with true crime, I found myself researching others who took the same vacations but never made it home. The Last Trip is a true crime podcast covering missing and murdered people that were living their best lives on vacation. I'm your host, Jamie Bevy, and each week I'll bring you on The Last Trip, taking a deep dive into vacation culture and travel spots, tips on staying alive while traveling, and ultimately recreating someone's last days in paradise. What led to their last trip? What are the hard facts? What is the final outcome? And could you be next? David Snedden was a 24-year-old college student from Utah attending Mandarin classes in Beijing when he mysteriously disappeared while hiking Tiger Leaping Gorge. Chinese authorities said he drowned in the gorge, and U.S. authorities agreed, although his body was never found and his parents didn't believe that. 7 years later, out of the blue, they got a phone call from a former U.S. official who had evidence David is still alive. This case sounds like a Hollywood movie, but evidence doesn't lie. So where is David Snedden? Famous rugby player and Celebrity X Factor contestant Levi Davis went missing in Barcelona last year while on a backpacking trip through Europe. Just days before he vanished, he posted a 15-minute video to his Instagram account saying his life was in danger and people were after him. After he disappeared, several theories emerged. But what really happened to Levi Davis? Join me, Jamie Bevy, co-host of the popular true crime series Strictly Stalking, as I embark on a brand new adventure combining true crime and travel. Listen to The Last Trip wherever you get your podcasts.
This turbulent upbringing set the stage for Celeste's future, shaping her complex personality and the choices that would later make her infamous.
Whoa. That's devastating, Becky. Like, why adopt children if that's what you're gonna do, man?
Yeah. I mean, maybe they didn't, foresee that was going to be the case.
Maybe, I guess, but that's just cruel. It's just so cruel to say that to children.
Mm-hmm. As an adult, Celeste claimed that her father had molested her and her sister as children, but her brothers vehemently denied these accusations, going as far to say that Nancy had brainwashed her sisters to hate Edwin.
So, wait, the brothers thought that the mom had brainwashed the sisters to believe that they were molested, basically.
Not specifically molested, but to hate Edwin, their adopted father.
So because of that, they just really felt that Celeste and the sisters were just, making this up.
Yeah, in their minds, it did not happen. Celeste...
Hello, my name is Kristen Riguidel, and I'm a licensed insurance broker across Canada and in the United States. But I want to ask you a question. Is life super predictable? No, there's always going to be curveballs in life, but there's 2 things that I can guarantee you. 1, we're all going to have to pay taxes, and 2, we're all going to die. I know, it's morbid, right? But it's true. And that's where life insurance comes in. Life insurance is a selfless act. At the end of the day, it's meant for your loved ones in the event you were to pass away unexpectedly. And not that money can ever replace us, but I always liked the idea of leaving some money behind for my brothers, whether that be for their college education, or a down payment on a house, or even just time off of work to grieve. Because the last thing I would want for my family is to have to go to work and pay the bills while they're grieving. And so life insurance gives you the peace of mind that no matter when you pass away, your loved ones are taken care of. With flexible plans, affordable premiums, and coverage that fits your unique needs, I do the shopping around for you so that you can get the protection without the hassle, because taking care of your future doesn't have to be complicated. If you'd like to discuss options, you can send me an email at krigidel15lrxc@wfgmail.ca or give me a phone call at 403-785-7670 to learn more and get a free quote today so you can live tomorrow with peace of mind.
Sister also said she does not remember.
Okay.
But she says, I can see why I wouldn't remember it if it happened.
Jeez.
You know, like she's totally like, well, I don't know. Did it happen? I don't know.
Did I block it out?
Yeah, exactly.
Damn. Okay. So far we don't know if that actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
But it's at least a reality for Celeste at this point.
Yeah. Now, during her teen years, Celeste's behavior took a sharp turn for the worse. She lashed out violently at her siblings, destroyed property, and often caused chaos at home. The police were no strangers to the Johnson household. And after one particularly disruptive episode, Celeste spent a week in a youth facility. At the age of 17, she made a life-altering decision. She dropped out of high school in 1980. Around this time, she met Craig Bratcher, a 19-year-old who quickly became infatuated with her, despite the red flags. Their relationship was a turbulent one, fueled by Celeste's unresolved anger and erratic behavior. Once, in a fit of rage, she yanked the steering wheel while Craig was driving, causing their truck to veer off the road and roll over. Shockingly, Celeste showed little concern for the seriousness of this incident, a sign of her increasingly reckless nature. Despite this, Craig chose to stay by her side. The couple soon faced another life-changing event. Celeste became pregnant with twins. And on December 6, 1980, Craig and Celeste got married. And 2 months later, Christina and Jennifer were born, their twin girls. However, motherhood did not come naturally to Celeste. She frequently abandoned Craig and the twins for days at a time, spending her nights with friends or other men. When she did return, she begged for forgiveness, blaming her toxic childhood for her behavior. Craig, perhaps out of love or guilt, took her back every time.
Wow, I feel like this is very interesting. One, I could easily believe that being a mother does not come naturally to her. She didn't have a good role model, and I'm sure she, to some extent, must have felt abandoned by her birth parents. So I could see that. I do actually believe that her toxic childhood does play a role in her toxic behavior, but I think at some point you do have to take accountability for your own choices, right?
Oh, absolutely. You have the choice to be the person you want to be and correct past behavior and grow as a person. Some people choose that route and, some people for sure don't. So,
yeah.
Now, their marriage was short-lived. And by 1982, they divorced. So they were only married for 2 years.
Right. So I think Craig got to a point where enough was enough, right?
That's right. Craig was ordered to pay $300 a month in child support, but Celeste complained that it just wasn't enough. She eventually placed Christina and Jennifer in foster care, claiming she couldn't afford to take care of them.
And the cycle continues.
Yeah. Now, over the next 5 years, Celeste and Craig maintained a toxic on and off again relationship, during which they repeatedly gained and lost custody of their daughters. They even had another child, but the baby was given up for adoption. And I say, given the circumstances, maybe a good idea. Now, in 1987, Craig's mental health took a toll, and after a suicide attempt, he moved to Washington to live near his mother. Celeste, now free of Craig, moved to Arizona, and this is where she met a man named Harold Wolf. He was an Air Force mechanic, and they married in December of 1988. Because of this stable relationship, Celeste was able to regain custody of her daughters, who were now 8 years old. But this marriage, it was doomed from the start. The couple fought constantly, with Celeste even resorting to physical violence. On top of the chaos, she secretly opened credit cards in Harold's name, racked up a mountain of debt. Harold, weary of the tumultuous relationship, wanted out, but Celeste often threatened suicide if he left her, and so that was a deterrent for him.
Yeah, it's emotionally abusive.
Yeah, because no one wants to be feeling responsible, even though it's not they're not.
For
they don't want to feel
death,
that way.
Right?
Yeah,
if that is what were to happen.
Yeah, no one wants that.
Yeah, no one wants that, of course.
Now, in kind of a positive way, Harold was relocated with his work, and he was sent on duty to Iceland in 1990. And this marked the end of their marriage. He's like, oh, I love Iceland.
Yeah, he's like, finally got away.
Finally, only had to move to Iceland.
Jeez.
So Celeste, desperate and with 2 daughters to raise, she moved back to Washington to live with Craig.
What? Say what?
I
No
know.
way.
Yeah.
And Craig is back in the picture.
Yeah. Now, life became a series of low-paying jobs and financial hardship, but Celeste was resourceful, or perhaps conniving. She set her car on fire and claimed it was stolen and walked away with $20,000 in insurance money. Now, I did read that, and I couldn't find, specifics on how true that detail was, so keep that in mind. I think she was conniving enough
That she could have.
done it, yeah.
Right. But either way, she has 20 grand in her pocket and
Yeah.
no car to her name.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, the interesting part, though, which makes me believe that this is true, is this scheme didn't go unnoticed, and she was soon under investigation for this fraud.
Right. So obviously, people thought it was sketchy.
Yeah. Around this time, she met a man named Jimmy Martinez, a 30-year-old who quickly fell head over heels for her. Within a month, they had moved to Austin, Texas together, and 4 months later, they were married. So this is like her 3rd marriage.
Yeah, in a very short time, right?
Yeah.
I have to say, this reminds me of, not to the T, but it does give Black Knight vibes.
Does it? Yes, it does.
Right?
I thought you were talking about, Batman.
No.
But I realized it's a previous podcast. Yeah.
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 If you haven't listened to The Black Knight, go take a listen. It is wild and does slightly resemble this. Slightly wild
All
woman.
the boyfriends.
And then men being attracted to it, but also
not liking it.
not liking it once they're in it,
Yeah, and super volatile where it's you should have walked away a long time ago.
Yeah,
But
totally.
then you came back for more. Yeah, it's kind of the same vibe for sure. Now, Jimmy was absolutely smitten with Celeste, and their relationship was intense, even fiery, with Celeste giving him a playful but crass nickname for his appendage.
His dick.
Yeah. And she called it BMW. And this stood for
Say it.
Big Mexican Wiener.
Jeez. Wow.
I mean, I feel like if I was a guy, I'd be like,
Oh yeah, I'd be like,
that's
sweet.
my nickname?
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
Love it.
Love that.
Call me that in front of my friends.
BMW! However, the pattern of dysfunction followed Celeste into her new life. Her daughters, now 11, visited her in Texas, and it wasn't long before they noticed that their mother's relationship with Jimmy was already falling apart. There was constant fights, and Celeste accused Jimmy of abuse. She even showed the police a bruise on her arm, though the injury was reportedly caused by Jimmy restraining Celeste from jumping out of a moving car on the highway during one of her emotional outbursts.
I feel
So
like
he
that
was-
tracks.
Yeah, he was saving her life,
Damn,
Right?
hey.
but she totally flipped the script there.
It does make me think back to the beginning of her claiming sexual abuse by her adopted father. Adopted father. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Oh, is
yeah.
it? Okay. I
Her
was like, what?
adopted
Did I
father.
say that wrong? Okay. But no, it does make me think back to that and how we were like, is it true? Is it not? Her brothers don't think it was. Her sister doesn't remember.
Mhm.
I'm just going to save that in the back of my mind. Because right now I'm like, is it true? Did it happen? Was it a lie? Was she being conniving? Was she scheming?
Was she telling the truth?
Or was she telling the truth?
Yeah, it's hard to say, especially with no other. And I'm not saying we shouldn't believe a victim here, but when no one else remembers this, especially someone she's saying also was abused that way, it's very surprising.
I think even more so than that, because I can believe that. I can believe that one
Mhm.
person in the family remembers it and no one else believes it
Yeah.
and no one else remembers it. I can actually see that.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see the pattern of her behavior
Yeah.
after the fact,
You start to question.
and then another accusation of abuse,
Mm-hmm.
physical abuse this time, it just makes you wonder if that accusation way before falls into the similar pattern of her lying and scheming, right?
Absolutely.
That's more so what I'm like, oh, who knows?
Yeah, well, that's a good point, Bev. Now, Christina and Jennifer were really divided on what to do. Jennifer wanted to return back to Washington with her dad, but Christina felt the need to stay and take care of her mother. When Craig tried to get Christina to come home, On the phone, he could hear Celeste in the background urging Christina to tell her father that she didn't love him.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, and this unfortunately sparked a custody battle between Celeste and Craig. And Craig actually was granted custody.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's abusive as hell.
Yeah.
For her to be telling her daughter to say that to her
Yeah.
dad, right? That's ridiculous.
For sure. And it's really hurting her daughter. It's a selfish move, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Now, even though Craig was granted custody, Celeste refused to let Christina go. And Craig, fearing losing his connection with his daughter, eventually and reluctantly allowed her to stay in Texas with her mother. Christina had wanted to stay with her mother to offer moral support, but it didn't take long for her to realize that Celeste's marriage to Jimmy Martinez was following the same pattern as her previous relationships. Celeste secretly opened credit cards in Jimmy's name, racked up debt, and continued her reckless behavior. And by 1993, her financial situation was dire, and Celeste needed a way to make money. So she secured a job at the prestigious Austin Country Club, where she crossed paths with 69-year-old Stephen Beard. Stephen, as he goes by Steve, a retired Fox broadcasting executive and self-made millionaire, was a family man with 3 grown children. He had been married to his wife, Elise, 45 years, and together they had built a fortune. However, Steve's life turned upside down in 1993 when Elise was diagnosed with brain cancer and passed away in October of that year. Devastated with this loss, Steve confided in his friends that he felt incomplete and needed someone to take care of. Enter Celeste.
Classic.
Stephen invited her to dinner, and their night ended in his hot tub, where Celeste really opened up about her rocky marriage to Jimmy and how he didn't get along with Christina. Stephen, longing for companionship, quickly became drawn to her, and by December, the two were inseparable. And Celeste, by that point, had left Jimmy, moving in with Steve along with Christina. Their relationship progressed fairly rapidly, and by February 18th, 1995, Celeste and Stephen were married in an extravagant ceremony at the Austin Country Club where they had first met. Steve, being a cautious man, had Celeste sign a prenup. If they divorced within 3 years, she would get absolutely nothing. After 3 years, she would receive $500,000. And if Stephen died, Celeste would inherit $1 million. And Celeste signed this prenup without any hesitation.
Sounds like a pretty decent prenup. It's like
You get a little something.
You just gotta stick it out for 3 years, and then you get a lot.
Yeah.
That's the stupidest fucking prenup I've ever freaking heard, Becky.
The question is, Bev, would you stay married to someone you maybe didn't know that well and maybe didn't like for 3 years to get $500,000?
Yes. Would you?
I mean, I think they're.
You could play some mental gymnastics, tricking yourself into believing I'm trying to make it work. I'm just trying to make it work. Oh, 3 years has gone by. I can't make it work anymore. It's been too hard on me. You could even stick it out for 5.
Yeah.
And then be like, no.
Now I collect my money.
Thank
Pass
you.
go.
But if you die, I double my money. Ooh.
And that's one of the main reasons why we have this podcast right there, Bev.
Yep.
That thought process right there.
Yep. Listen, I wouldn't even marry someone I wasn't into.
Yeah.
I would marry someone for love.
Yeah.
But if I was in Celeste's position, I mean, 3 years is not a long time to wait to, make $500,000.
Yeah.
Like, shit, people have to work a lifetime for that amount of money
Right?
sometimes. 3
Yeah.
years is no big deal. And all she has to do is get divorced? Come on.
I know. Easy peasy, lemon fucking squeezy.
Like, Steve, what were you thinking? You obviously don't know this lady.
To put it in perspective, I will mention this again, but his net worth is estimated around $50 million. So it's actually nothing compared to his wealth. But
okay.
So really,
so for him, he was like
$500,000.
What is 500?
Oh, I got $500,000 in my pocket in cash. No biggie.
I take this on my daily activities in case I just need to buy a horse
or a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Maserati.
Oh God. Well,
so this marriage, it worked well at first. And when I say at first, I mean the first week.
Right. Obviously, she probably is digging this new lifestyle.
Yeah. She loved it, in fact. Now, Steve.
You're talking about Maseratis, Ferraris.
Yeah.
You're like,
street racing. What's up, street? Anyways, Steve treated both Celeste and her daughter well. However, not long after the wedding, Christina began to notice troubling behavior from her mother once again. Celeste often insulted Steve behind his back, and in March of 1995, Christina caught her mother crushing up sleeping pills into Steve's food. And when she confronted her mom, she just brushed it off, claiming she just wanted him to fall asleep quickly so that she wouldn't have to spend any more time with him.
Holy crap.
Yeah, did you actually just marry him for his money then?
Yeah, like, why? That's so sad. Obviously, she doesn't just want him to fall asleep quickly. Like, let's be real. That's so silly.
Yeah.
You don't want to spend time with someone. You go to another room.
Yeah, and it's like they live in a mansion.
Yeah, like, this is attempted murder, honestly. It has to be, because that's wild.
It really is, Bev. Anyways, while this is all going on, Steve began noticing financial discrepancies. His bank informed him that his checking account was overdrawn, and he discovered that Celeste had been going on secret shopping sprees. And to be quite frank, this fucking pissed him off.
Yeah, no kidding.
And he somewhat cut her off financially. He moved all his money to a new account that required his signature for withdrawals. The final straw came in June of 1995 when Steve visited his safety deposit box, only to find it completely empty. Celeste had pawned his late wife Elise's jewelry. This was sentimental to him. It's not valuable. Well, I'm sure it's valuable, but the sentiment, right?
Oh God,
was
that
bigger.
Is so devastating to me.
Yeah.
This was a woman he obviously built an extraordinary life with, had so much respect for. Oh God.
No. So
that's heartless.
I know. It is heartless.
Like, can you not just accept that you're living a very blessed life?
I know. And you know what? It wasn't even though he cut her off, it wasn't he was just you can't have a single dime. He still took care of her.
Obviously.
She still had all her needs and wants met. It's just she didn't have free reign of his account anymore.
Steal my money.
Yeah, exactly. So it's oh, you're so hard done by, you dummy.
But you go and do something just so disgraceful.
Exactly. Now, enraged, Steve demanded that Celeste leave his home, and he filed for divorce. And he changed the locks behind her.
Good job, Steve.
Yeah. Now, this rejection sent Celeste into a damn tailspin. She checked into a psychiatric hospital where she was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and depression. She penned several letters to Steve apologizing and pleading for a second chance. And eventually, Steve, moved by her childhood trauma and emotional pleas, relented. He put the divorce on hold in August of 1995, deciding to give their marriage another shot. I don't know if kudos to him or not, but if someone burned me that bad, there is not a damn thing you can say to me if you sold my beloved wife's jewelry. There's not a damn thing you could say to me. I'd be like, I don't care. I don't care how traumatic your childhood was.
No doubt.
Now, in the meantime, as they're trying to rekindle their romance and their marriage, Steve and Celeste plan to sell their home in Austin, Texas, and they want to move to Boston, where Steve had purchased land for a new home. However, in July 1996, tragedy struck when Celeste's ex-husband, Craig Bratcher, died by suicide. After years of struggling with depression, this loss devastated Jennifer, who had been so close to her father. She had to move in with Celeste and Steve. Jennifer quickly grew fond of Steve, appreciating his fatherly presence. And it was at this time where Steve decided to legally adopt both Christina and Jennifer.
Wow.
Adopt them as his own. And they took his last name. But it wasn't long before Jennifer noticed her mother's disturbing behavior, including the crushing up the sleeping pills into his food. As if that weren't enough, Celeste confided in her daughters that she was secretly seeing her ex-husband Jimmy for late-night trysts. She gleefully shared the sordid details with Christina, Jennifer, and their friends, forcing them all to keep her affair hidden from Steve.
Oh my gosh, talk about emotional incest.
I hate that.
That's sad, also because Christina and Jennifer like Steve. And they see some pretty fucked up behavior from their mother and trying to kill Steve. And when you really think of their prenup, you're like, she's going for the mill.
She's going for it. Going for it. Now, by early 1999, Steve had started to talk to his lawyers about the possibility of divorce again, likely suspecting Celeste's infidelity. And same as last time, when Celeste found out, she flew into a rage, once again threatening suicide. And one night, in front of Christina, Celeste pressed Steve's pistol to her head, claiming that her family didn't love her. Absolutely terrified, Christina called the police, and Celeste was taken to St. David's Pavilion, a psychiatric hospital where she stayed for a few weeks of treatment. Her husband Steve and her daughter Christina visited frequently. During her stay, Celeste constantly complained about her life until she met another patient, Tracy Tarleton. Tracy quickly became a listening ear for Celeste, who confided in her that Steve was to blame for her depression and suicide attempts. Tracy and Celeste bonded deeply over their similar traumatic past. Both had experienced abuse and struggled with depression. Tracy in particular had long battled suicidal impulses and binge drinking in her early 20s. After seeking treatment, Tracy remained sober for 10 years. In early 1999, Tracy started to hear voices again, causing her to drink excessively and relapsing. And she was admitted to the same hospital as Celeste. Their relationship at the hospital quickly became flirtatious and then physical, creating a deep emotional connection. After being released, Tracy went to another facility in Kansas for treatment, while Celeste went back to Dallas for continued treatment as well. Before parting, Celeste promised Tracy she would try to join her at the Kansas facility, but her psychiatrist recommended long-term treatment elsewhere. They continued to communicate regularly, and when Tracy's transfer to a facility in Dallas was approved, Celeste arranged her to fly there. They had requested to be roommates at the new treatment center and resumed their intimate relationship, becoming nearly inseparable despite warnings from Tracy's doctor that this relationship could be detrimental to her recovery.
That is exactly what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, unfortunately, you bonded over trauma, but don't realize that you are now engaged with a abuser, because that is what Celeste has become.
Yeah.
And isn't she married at this point too? Like, this is her second sexual affair?
Yeah.
Damn, girl.
I know. I mean, technically more than sexual. Two, because she stayed with men in her first marriage and then cheated on Jimmy with...
Yeah, she's a...
Steve?
She's a serial adulterer.
Adulterer, yes.
Wow, yeah. So sad that it's going to be detrimental to her recovery.
For
like,
sure.
100%.
Even both of them, right?
Yeah, well...
In different ways.
Celeste, I'm like, is she going through treatment for the right reasons, or is it a manipulation tactic? Yet again, Becky.
Questions.
I have to say, I just gotta get it off my chest. Celeste is killing me right now. Like, I just don't like her at all.
No, she actually seems like a pretty foul individual.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyways, just had to say it because it's just festering inside my soul.
Yeah, get it out, girl.
Fuck you, Celeste.
Taking liberties, I see. Okay. So while in treatment, on top of her previous diagnoses, Celeste also was found to present narcissistic and histrionic tendencies. So that's on top of her
personality disorder
and depression.
Yeah.
Ultimately, both women were released from treatment after they completed it. Tracy got an apartment in Austin and a job at a bookstore, while Celeste went home to Steve and her daughters. Steve hoped that Celeste's treatment would help rekindle their marriage, but Celeste was too consumed by her relationship with Tracy even after being released from treatment. The two women even hosted a party for Tracy's coworker at Steve's lake house, where they were seen dancing, making out, and behaving intimately. During the party, Celeste made an ominous comment to Tracy, "After Steve is dead, we can live here together."
After I kill him, she means.
Yeah, and not as many words. Now, Celeste and Tracy's sexual relationship was complicated. Celeste had confessed she wasn't sure if she was attracted to women, but she continued to spend lots of intimate time with Tracy.
I'm convinced Celeste just likes the feeling of being wanted, and when she receives that, she's like enamored with it.
Yep. And what's sad is at this moment, Tracy, she believes Celeste is her girlfriend.
Yeah.
She's like all in.
Head over heels.
Yeah. Despite Celeste's fixation on Tracy, Steve made efforts to repair their marriage. He even planned a romantic trip to Europe for the month of October in 1999. But Celeste was uninterested and referred to the trip as torture. Yeah, oh my god, a month in Europe. So torturous. Shut the hell up. And because of everything Celeste had told Tracy about Steve, Tracy feared for Celeste's safety and became increasingly concerned about this trip. In early September, Christina, Celeste's daughter, called Tracy worried about her mother not getting out of bed. Tracy rushed over to find Celeste in tears, claiming that living with Stephen was killing her. It was at this point Celeste told Tracy that Steve had to die.
Shut the front door, Rebecca.
Yes.
No way. No way.
Mm-hmm.
No way.
Yeah, it happened.
Oh my gosh. This is, I can see the writing on the wall and I'm already devastated, but keep going.
So after telling Tracy this, Celeste tried several methods to kill Steve. And as we know, she was crushing up sleeping pills, putting in his food. She also swapped his vodka out with Everclear. No, I don't know. You ever had Everclear, Bev?
Yeah, you definitely know it's freaking Everclear.
Yeah, maybe it's just because he's a little older. His taste buds aren't like shocked and disgusted. I don't know. Maybe she makes a mean cocktail. But Everclear sucks ass, and it's very high in alcohol if you don't know.
Yeah, I doubt that Steve is drinking like Smirnoff vodka.
No, just normal vodka.
Yeah, no, he's not drinking like no cheap vodka. This guy's a millionaire. Like, he's probably drinking the good stuff.
Yeah.
Everclear is nasty.
Ugh.
Like, come on.
It's like rubbing alcohol. I tried it once and I think I almost died.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. So these efforts were completely in vain and they did not work. He did not die. And so Celeste got Tracy to make a nasty concoction that would facilitate the bacteria botulinum. Then they would find a way for Steve to consume it. And in theory, he would get botulism and die. And ultimately, all of Celeste's problems would be solved. But unfortunately, Steve didn't even get sick from this attempt.
Or fortunately.
Fortunately for him.
Yes.
Yeah, I should say.
But unfortunately for their efforts.
Yeah. Also, do you...
No, I don't know what botulism is. Go ahead. Tell me.
You know, I read it earlier and I forgot.
Good story.
Yeah, it's not good though. It can be fatal.
Well,
it's a sickness
obviously
caused by bacteria.
That's why they tried to kill him with it.
Yeah, but I was going to ask...
You're really explaining this well, Becky.
You know, you hear of botulism, but when you ask me to describe it, you're like, oh, I actually don't know. Go ahead, read it for me, Bev.
Well, like, pretty much just says what you said. It says botulism is a rare and potentially fatal illness caused by
bacteria.
Botulinum toxin, which is produced by the bacterium Clostridium botulinum, or botulinum. Anyways, the disease begins with weakness, blurred vision, feeling tired, and someone having trouble speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And then it may be followed by weakness of the arms, chest muscles, and legs. So and just like
then death.
Yeah. It ends up being like respiratory failure.
Ooh, well, that's not good. Yeah, you don't want botulism, let's be real.
Yeah, fatal.
Can you get botulism from a dented can? Isn't that like the risk of
from a dented can?
Google it. Go on,
oh, Beth. Lord. Here we're going on our Googling session, everyone. How can you get botulism?
Like leaving food out overnight?
Foodborne botulism is a thing. It can happen by eating foods that have been contaminated with this toxin. Common sources of the foodborne botulism are homemade foods that have been improperly canned,
oh my God,
preserved or fermented. And then it says it's uncommon, but store-bought foods can also be contaminated with this toxin.
Right.
Wow, Becky.
You know, for not knowing what botulism is, I seem to know a lot about it.
Yeah. You're like, fatal, dented cans. And it's like, yeah, basically that is what it is.
You are right in all areas.
Kudos. Round of applause for you.
Thank you. Woo.
You're not totally dumb. Woo!
I just have like a bunch of random like bits of knowledge I do know.
Yeah.
That are truly almost useless, but in circumstances are very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Now, Tracy made this botulism concoction. She bought a recipe book type for this. I apparently that's a thing. Anyways, she put meat, corn, water, and a couple other things in there. Let it sit in the sun. Let it soak. Let it fester.
Right.
So imagine they take that concoction and how do they get him to eat it?
I don't know.
But it happened.
Maybe they were hoping he like took a bite and then was like, bleh, but ultimately got, infected with the toxin.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it didn't work.
No, it didn't.
So either way, but still, like, how did he, what happened there? Was he like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, like, this food tastes fucking rotten.
Ooh,
Celeste, you're a terrible goddamn cook. Actually, he's probably like, chef.
Yeah,
This
chef.
isn't your usual. Is that gravy? No.
Yeah. Wow. That's a one way to go about trying to kill someone, though.
It
I'll
is,
tell ya.
right? Now, on September 12th, after all these attempts, Celeste actually walked in and found Steve unresponsive on the kitchen floor. So, like, oh, okay.
This is our chance.
Yeah. She calls Tracy, because he's still breathing, she calls Tracy to finish the job.
Oh, she's such a damn coward.
I know. She instructs Tracy to put a bag over his head and then choke him with a towel. But when he kind of moved and groaned, Tracy kind of freaked out and panicked and backed out. She just couldn't do it.
Because she's not a murderer. She's not diabolical like Celeste.
Exactly. She's just
She's trying to please her. Oh,
Yeah.
God, this is sad.
I know. So anyways, they decide to call an ambulance. And when Steve was hospitalized, they realized his blood alcohol level was dangerously high. Hospital staff attributed the incident to excessive drinking. And the social workers were called and offered him help on how to fix this. But he said, no, I don't have a problem.
His social workers?
Yeah, at the hospital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they assumed he had alcoholism,
Right.
but was in denial.
Ah.
Now, he's just unaware how much he was consuming, to the Everclear.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think that would be the one to, actually render him unconscious, Becky.
I know, after
As we said,
everything.
how the fuck would he not realize it's Everclear? Either way, okay.
So now we have Celeste, who is getting frustrated with every attempt, every idea that just keeps failing. And she asked Tracy if she would shoot Steve for her. Tracy initially laughed it off and was like, no. But Celeste broke down in tears, telling Tracy that if she didn't kill Steve, she would kill herself to get out of this marriage.
Damn, I hate this woman. I hate her.
Yeah.
She's so manipulative, so terrible. God.
Yeah, again, no one wants to be responsible for that. So I can see how it's a very effective tool in manipulating someone to do what you want.
Yes.
Now, Tracy, of course, wanting to protect Celeste,
Of course.
agreed.
Ugh.
They planned for Tracy to sneak into the house while Steve was asleep and shoot him. On October 1st, 1999, Celeste ensured that her daughter Jennifer and friends would be at the lake house while Christina stayed home. She then coached Tracy on how to park and enter the house undetected. Celeste would also disable the alarm, and around 2 a.m. on October 2nd, Tracy followed the plan, sneaking into the house and shooting Steve in the stomach. Now, this guy is freaking resilient, because he was not dead. He actually sat up, tried to hit their panic button, but because the alarm had been disabled, it didn't work. So he picked up the phone, called 911, and he told them, my guts blew out of my stomach.
Didn't realize he was shot?
Had no idea. I mean, he was asleep. She
My
ran
God.
away. How was he to know, right?
Right. No,
Just
that's...
something severely
Yeah.
wrong. So he's waiting for help to arrive. And at this exact same moment, Christina had been woken by the gunshot. And when she awoke, she saw her mother standing by her bedroom door. Celeste told Christina that someone was in the house. So Christina got out of her room, ran and got a phone, and called 911. The dispatcher told her the police were at the door and that she needed to go and let them in, and that the paramedics were already inside working on a man.
Yeah, because obviously Steve has called 911 as well, right?
Exactly.
Wow.
When the police arrived, they found the patio doors open, a shotgun shell on the floor, and Steve lying in a pool of blood. And at that point, Steve was rushed to the hospital via helicopter ambulance. While everyone was at the hospital, police tested everyone's hands for gunshot residue. And Celeste told the police that she had been in Christina's room, which she often did because Steve's sleep apnea machine would keep her up at night. After speaking with the police, Celeste then pulled Christina aside and instructed her not to mention Tracy to the police.
Sketchy.
Yeah. Though Christina was pretty dang loyal to her mother, she confided in her boyfriend Justin about what her mother had told her, and he told the police to investigate Tracy. Similarly, Jennifer's boyfriend Christopher told the police that Tracy was madly in love with Celeste. When detectives learned of Celeste's connection to Tracy and the passionate relationship they shared, they began to see a motive for the shooting. It became increasingly suspicious that Celeste had failed to mention Tracy during her initial questioning. This raised more red flags about her involvement.
What I also find interesting and 100% manipulative and just calculated is that Celeste kept Christina home that day because Christina was closer to her and believed in her more than Jennifer did, who she sent to the lake house and made sure she was out.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems so calculated, right?
Yes,
like,
it does.
Christina would be the one to believe me. Christina, I can tell what to say and what not to say, and she won't say anything.
Christina, I can manipulate.
Yeah, like, it seems so calculated.
That it does. So, obviously, detectives take this information and they look into Tracy and her background. They discover that she had a couple of DWI charges, but nothing major. And only a few hours later, Tracy heard a knock at her door. To her surprise, 2 detectives stood there. Is it to your surprise? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, sure. At that moment, Tracy tried to remain calm, but she was panicking on the inside. The detectives were friendly and calm, trying to put her at ease. They eventually asked about her relationship with Celeste Beard, and Tracy told them they were friends in that she knew Steve Beard, but not intimately. The detectives then asked if she had a shotgun and if they could see it. When Tracy brought it out, one of the detectives smelled cleaning solution. She explained that she had been skeet shooting days before, and to the detectives this seemed just too coincidental. They asked to take the gun for testing and requested that Tracy come down to the station for further questioning. With a little hesitation in her voice, Tracy ultimately agreed to do both. At the station, Tracy broke down, admitting that she and Celeste were romantically involved, but insisted she had nothing to do with the shooting. However, when the ballistic test came back, the shotgun shell found at the crime scene matched Tracy's gun. She was arrested and charged with aggravated assault and injury to the elderly, since Steve Beard, who was severely injured but still alive, was in the hospital recovering. Tracy posted a $25,000 bond and was released. Despite the charges and investigation, Tracy and Celeste continued to see each other a few times a week, mostly discussing Celeste's anger that Steve hadn't died. But Celeste remained hopeful that Steve wouldn't recover.
Despite Tracy being the one who is obviously charged with aggravated assault, like, if he dies, she'll be charged with murder.
Yeah, she'll
like,
be in jail for a while.
Wouldn't Tracy be like, yo, like, that's kind of messed up. Like, I'm caught, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, what the
hell?
hell?
I know. Isn't that messed up?
Yeah.
I know. It's so sad. It's kind of shocking that Tracy's still like, I love you, Celeste.
Yeah, like, it's just so sad. Like, can't you see what's happening? But she can't.
No, she can't.
That's what makes it so sad.
Mm-hmm. So while Steve was in the ICU, Celeste attempted to take control of his bank accounts, but his attorney only allowed her an allowance for household expenses. Celeste was furious. She very quickly spent $500,000 on home improvements, further enraging Steve. However, Steve was focused on his very slow recovery, as the severity of his injuries left his immune system compromised, increasing his risk for infection. You know, he's not like some young buck, you know? Things take longer when you're older, especially a major gunshot wound to the abdomen.
He was shot by a shotgun.
Yeah.
Like, what?
It's a big injury. Like,
I really can't get over, like, how Celeste is as a human being. Like, she can't get money to just spend, so she just has to spend it on home improvements. Like, she just has to be like, I can find a way to get around this. Like, she's just, I can't say it enough. And I'm sorry if I'm annoying everyone, but maybe you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. Like, Celeste, you're just, I like how you said it, Becky. You're a foul person. Foul
individual. Now, Celeste played the role of caring wife, telling Steve she hated Tracy for what she had done, which kept Steve from suspecting the two women were still seeing each other. Eventually, gossip about Celeste's relationship with Tracy spread around town, and a local newspaper released a story questioning the true nature of their relationship. The rumors became the talk of the town, and Celeste made public attempts to defend her reputation. Despite her efforts, suspicion about her involvement in Steve's shooting grew and grew and grew, because obviously they grew. In December, Steve started to notice that he was recovering well and he felt stronger, so he confronted Celeste at the hospital about her excessive spending and the neglect he felt. The confrontation did not go well, and Celeste stormed out after a vicious fight. Back home, Celeste took out her frustrations on her daughter Christina. Their heated argument escalated, leading to a shattered picture frame and Celeste threatening to cut herself with the broken glass. Christina called the police and Celeste was admitted to a psychiatric hospital for evaluation overnight. By January 2000, doctors determined Steve had recovered enough to return home, but Celeste was adamantly against it. Regardless, Steve was released. But after just one night at home, Celeste rushed him back to the hospital, claiming he was confused and had chest pain. Tests revealed that Steve had developed a yeast infection, and he was readmitted. Initially, he seemed okay, but soon after, his health took a sudden turn for the worse. On January 22nd, Steve Beard passed away at the age of 75 due to a pulmonary embolism. For anyone who doesn't know, that is a blood clot caused by his gunshot wound. The medical examiner ruled Steve's death a homicide.
As they should.
What's really sad is Steve's children were unaware of his death because Celeste was too preoccupied with securing access to Steve's $50 million fortune. She immediately contacted the bank, demanding control over all of Steve's accounts. However, she was shocked to learn Steve had set up a trust that only provided her with monthly payments of $15,000. Celeste was furious and attempted everything, even fabricating a story about having breast cancer to gain more money. When that failed, she made a bizarre threat to cut off her breasts and mail it to the bank. Like,
she has one tactic. That's all she's got in her repertoire. Like, when something fails,
you threaten self-harm or suicide.
Exactly.
I know.
Like, I honestly have to say, though, like, it is a little bit ridiculous. Like, $15,000 is so much money, Becky.
That's a great monthly income.
Yeah, like, you would just be set.
Like,
for
honestly,
life.
Celeste, how greedy can you be?
Like, just accept it. Like,
Yeah.
what is going on? Like, damn. It just, her logic is non-existent.
Skewed.
And just messed up. I would be stoked to have $15,000
a month.
And, like, aren't you sad your husband died? Come on.
Right?
Like, we know she's not. We know what happened.
She wanted
but, like,
him dead, so.
God, it's just like.
She's fucking selfish, let's be real. She's just terrible. And also, let's go back to the breast cutoff threat.
Okay.
Could you imagine your customer service line of some sort? Someone is mad at you, and they said, if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to cut off my tit and mail it to you.
I know.
Be like, oh, okay, well, good luck with cutting your tit off.
Right? Be like,
actually, I'd love to see it, sure.
Yeah, like, what kind of, like, I'm going to mail it to your bank. They're going to be like, we're going to throw it in the trash.
Yeah, or call the
police.
police.
La vie to your booby.
Right? You're going to be a one-tit ninny.
Oh, man. It is a little bit silly. And let's go even further back to the fact that his children don't even know that he's passed away because of her selfish shit.
Yeah, her priorities were out of whack there, right?
Yeah, oh man, we love our father.
Oh,
I would want
be
her head.
Gutted. Yeah, oh for sure.
Becky.
I mean, oh my god.
Oh my god, Becky.
Why am I like this?
We would be sad. We would be sad. We'd be devastated. We'd be pissed. But God and Becky, Lord Almighty.
I've been on that kick lately. I swear I'm not being insensitive.
No.
Although it sounded
You're
like
not
it.
trying to be.
No, I'm of pure heart, okay? I've been
was
saying that a
just-
lot lately. It's just like what I'm into.
You're just saying
With a British accent.
Mhm.
I've been watching lots of Hell's Kitchen reruns and, Gordon Ramsay's in my mind all the time.
Oh, I'm just gutted.
Yeah, you see?
Yeah, no, I totally get where you were going.
Thank you.
But yeah,
Bad timing.
close to home.
My bad. Eventually, Steve's children do find out, thank God. Unfortunately, Celeste was tasked with planning Steve's funeral. Celeste bizarrely purchased 2 pink caskets for her daughters, Christina and Jennifer, while they were out shopping for Steve's casket. She's like, let's just throw that in the mix. Now, this left her daughters deeply unsettled.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
are we next?
Like, they're 18, 19 at the time.
Yeah, that's just like twisted.
Yeah.
Like, if
it
anything,
is.
buy one for yourself.
Right? You're older.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd be pretty scared of my mom if she did that to me.
Yeah, I'd be like, what is going on?
Yeah. I could understand, like, a plot, like, of land. But, like, oh, you know what? Let's keep the family together. Let's buy a big plot. One for you and me.
Sure.
Steve. That's logical, but a casket? I mean, for crying out loud, Bev, you can get those at Costco.
A casket?
Yeah, I saw it on their website.
Becky, why were you looking up caskets?
It just popped up.
Uh-huh.
I was looking at stuff and I was like, oh shit, they have caskets.
Nothing like a true crime junkie to just like have their browser come up with like caskets.
You need to
on
see
the
this.
Costco website. Like, we see your search history. This makes sense for you.
Surely she's in the market. I was actually a little shocked. I'm like, oh, it's online, not in their store, just to be clear.
Yeah.
So if you want a good deal, I'm sure it's great. Now, Celeste's resentment and anger festered. And on February 11th, she approached a woman named Donna Goodson, who she had known from her nail salon. Celeste asked Donna to accompany her to the Houston Rodeo. They partied all night and then traveled to Lake Charles in Louisiana. They went there for more gambling and fun. During this trip, Celeste confided in Donna that she feared becoming a suspect in Steve's murder because of Tracy's involvement. And she hinted that everything would be easier if Tracy were gone.
What the actual Dickens,
Well, she's turned on Tracy.
Oh my God.
Very loyal. How dare she, right? Now, Donna, sensing Celeste's desperation, claimed to know a hitman named Modesto who could eliminate Tracy for just $500. Without any hesitation, Celeste withdrew the money and gave it to Donna, believing that Tracy would soon be out of the picture. Unbeknownst to Celeste, Donna had fabricated the entire hitman story and pocketed the money. I mean, that makes so much sense. Like, why would you call your nail salon lady and be like, hey, you know a hitman? Like, out of nowhere? You think she fucking knows a hitman? Most likely not.
I would have been like 10 grand.
I know, like what? I mean, Donna, think about it.
Yeah, $500
If you're gonna pocket the money, yeah.
Someone's desperate. You're sensing your desperation.
Oh.
You could go for a little more.
Yeah, right? Take her for all she's fucking worth.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
$500 measly dollars.
Exactly. Now, Donna went on just living her best life, $500 richer. But days later, rumors started circulating at the nail salon implicating Celeste in Steve's murder. Now, Celeste eventually hears about this, and she's pissed. She demanded that Donna drive her to confront a woman named Kim, who was the source of the gossip at the nail salon. Celeste also called Christina for backup. Like, girl, get your, pitchfork and let's go take down this woman with the gossip.
Yeah, like her trusted daughter.
Mm-hmm. When they arrived at the nail salon, Celeste, enraged, pulled a butcher's knife from her purse and charged at Kim, who narrowly escaped. Seeing this, Christina and Donna wrestled the knife away from Celeste. But during the struggle, Celeste injured both herself and Christina. They were pretty minor, but there were some stitches involved. In February of 2000, Celeste's mental state deteriorated rapidly, as we can clearly see. One evening, she suggested that she, Christina, and Jennifer should all kill themselves, basically making a suicide pact kind of deal. After she said that, she then stabbed herself in the thigh, missing a major artery by millimeters. Her daughters were completely alarmed and called an ambulance. And Celeste was admitted to Timberlawn Psychiatric Hospital. Though her suicide threats were fairly common, this incident terrified her daughters. While she was admitted, Celeste continued to ask Donna about the hit on Tracy. Now, Donna upped the price to $10,000, explaining that Mr. Modesto had backed out, but she knew another guy. And Celeste, desperate, wrote her a check with the expectation that Tracy would be dead by the time she was out of treatment.
Wow. Did I read someone's mind? Like
10,000, you said it.
Yeah, I said it.
You did.
But wow, like when you go to the police,
And
Donna, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Go to the fucking police.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe she's desperate for money, you know?
But seriously, come on. Do you have any moral compass? Go to the police.
If someone came to me and was like, yo, do you know a hitman or someone that could kill my friend? I'd be like, yes, I do. And then I go to the police and then I can be involved in a sting operation.
Yes.
Like, how freaking fun.
Yeah, but also, like, you are potentially saving someone's life.
Yes.
Even though she's going to jail for murder. Regardless, like, come on now. This is a serious request.
Yeah.
Go to the police.
Anyways, meanwhile, Christina was growing increasingly suspicious of her mother's relationship with Donna and her large financial transactions. When Celeste refused to explain, Christina threatened to speak to Donna herself, which sent Celeste into a panic. She abruptly checked herself out of Timberlawn and called Jennifer to pick her up. During the car ride, Celeste furiously told Jennifer she was so angry that she could kill Christina. Jennifer obviously relays this to her sister, and now both girls are terrified of their mother. they start distancing themselves, staying with their boyfriends' families, and contemplated cutting ties with Celeste. When they failed to come home that night, Celeste left them threatening voicemails, solidifying their decision to stay away. Both girls feared for their lives and began recording their conversations with Celeste. In one recorded call, Celeste admitted she had given Donna money to hire hitmen to kill Tracy. This was the absolute breaking point for Christina and Jennifer, who cut off all communication with their mother and went to the district attorney, informing them of their belief that Celeste was involved in Steve's murder and had tried to have Tracy killed. Though this information was very valuable, it wasn't enough for a conviction. The DA knew they needed Tracy's cooperation, but she remained loyal to Celeste, refusing to testify against her even when confronted with evidence of Celeste's betrayal. Tracy called Celeste, who denied everything and said it was her daughter's attempt to get back at Tracy for killing their stepfather. In this conversation, Celeste blamed Tracy for ruining her life and creating this rift between her daughters and her. She wanted nothing to do with Tracy. Despite this heartbreak, Tracy's loyalty to Celeste was unwavered. But now, Celeste has isolated herself. She has no one. So she looked to the comfort of a new man named Spencer. Celeste moved fast and the couple were married. Unfortunately, her new romance was tainted because on June 23rd, 2000, Christina and Jennifer filed a restraining order against their mother. The newspaper reported on this case and released an article suggesting that they had audio recordings of Celeste admitting to hiring a hitman to kill Tracy. When Tracy read this article, the news devastated her. Because of this, she attempted suicide, but was saved and hospitalized. While recovering, Tracy finally acknowledged that she had been manipulated by Celeste.
Finally,
right?
Like, damn. I was thinking after Celeste ended things with her and blamed her for, like, ruining her and her daughter's relationships, like, that would do it. You know, but, like, I was, like, while you were speaking, I was like, man, that abuse ran deep. That manipulation was deep. Because, like, holy crap.
Yeah. Like, she probably was feeling so shitty that this is happening to Celeste when she's in, like, really hot water already, you know?
Yeah, it's just crazy that that's what it took, hey?
Yeah. Eventually, in February 2001, Tracy was indicted for Steve Beard's murder. While in jail awaiting trial, Tracy had time to reflect. Angry and disillusioned, she reached out to the prosecution and offered to testify against Celeste. Tracy pled guilty to murder and received a 20-year sentence, finally exposing Celeste's involvement in the murder. Leading up to this moment, there had been whispers about Celeste's involvement in Steve's death. In the fall of 2000, Stephen Beard's 3 children filed a wrongful death suit against Celeste Beard, suspecting her involvement in their father's murder. However, the judge ruled that there wasn't sufficient proof to conclusively link Celeste to the crime. This left the district attorney in a similar position, unable to bring charges against her at the time. So, when Tracy decides to turn on her ex-lover,
there's a little bit more concrete evidence to kind of back up the suspicions that were surrounding Celeste.
Exactly. On March 28th, 2002, Celeste Beard was pulled over by 3 squad cars and arrested for the murder of her late husband, Steve Beard. Almost a year later, on February 3rd, 2003, Celeste's trial began. A large number of witnesses came forward to testify against her, including her twin daughters and their boyfriends, her therapist, and most crucially, Tracy. Despite concerns about Tracy's mental health history and her credibility as a witness, she was firm, well-spoken, and consistent throughout her testimony, which greatly reassured the prosecution as well as the jury. Tracy became the star witness, and the prosecution successfully demonstrated that Celeste had manipulated her. Celeste convinced Tracy that Steve was abusive and controlling, and that the only way out was to have him killed. Celeste skillfully played on Tracy's love for her, using her as a tool to get what she wanted, only to abandon her once Steve was out of the picture. On March 19th, 2003, after 3 days of deliberation, the jury returned a verdict. Celeste Beard was found guilty of murder, and she was sentenced to life in prison.
Hell yes.
The aftermath of the trial showed a stark contrast between the 2 women. In interviews, Tracy expressed deep remorse. She admitted that prison was the consequence of her actions and accepted it, saying she woke up every day ashamed of what she had done.
I believe her.
Me
like,
too.
100%.
For sure. And after serving only 10 years of her sentence, Tracy was released on parole in 2011. Celeste, on the other hand, was enraged by the outcome. She maintained that everyone had conspired against her, resulting in her downfall. To this day, she insists on her innocence.
Cry me a river.
Yeah, but who's Celeste? Her narcissistic personality disorder could explain why she might genuinely believe her own version of events, refusing to accept any wrongdoing. However, the overwhelming evidence and witness testimony proved otherwise. Celeste Beard will remain in prison until at least 2042, which is the earliest she can apply for parole. And based on her history, I probably wouldn't let her out if I was on that board.
Oh, hell no, especially if she's not accepting any form of responsibility.
Yeah, like complete denial.
Yeah.
And maybe it does have to do with all her diagnoses.
Yeah, potentially. Actually, probably.
Yeah, most likely, right? And so I can see how maybe she truly believes that, but it's just not the case, Celeste. I'm sorry.
No, like you showed a pattern of doing the exact same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. Like, it was ridiculous how often she played the same cards. Like manipulation cards. Yeah, like there is no way I don't think that she would change her stripes, you know?
No way. Now, while incarcerated, Celeste, along with a few other inmates, compiled a cookbook titled From the Big House to Your House, Cooking in Prison. The book, featuring recipes made with commissary items, has garnered 96 reviews on Amazon with an overall rating of 4.4 stars out of 5. The reviews range from practical critiques claiming the recipes are difficult to replicate outside of the prison, to enthusiastic praise, with some calling it a great purchase and they highly recommend it.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. So I'd like to know if she makes money from that, because it's like $20.
Yeah, I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not either.
But like, I guess
you got to do what you got to do.
Like, if you're in prison for the rest of your life and that's what you do with your time, is it the worst thing that you're doing with your time?
No.
Not really. I mean,
no.
like, it's not the worst, right?
And it sucks because I actually am kind of curious what's in this cookbook, but I refuse to support that.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
I refuse as well. Because honestly, I really dislike this woman.
Yeah, me too.
Terrible.
Ultimately, this case is a chilling example of Celeste Beard's manipulation and her disregard for human life, as she used Tracy to achieve her selfish goals and contribute to the brutal murder of her husband, Stephen Beard.
Yeah, absolutely. Justice was served in this case, but boy, a lot of people were harmed in the wake of her existence.
Yeah, just her existence was bad for a lot of people. All right, well, Bev, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for sharing. And just your weekly reminder to download our weekly episodes, follow us on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever streaming platform you listen to us on, and give us a follow on our social medias. You can find us at Luminol on the Wall. Can't wait till next week.